Droid cam is working. Oh, jeez. Okay. Let's try this. Start. Droid cam. Alright. We can do this. Droid cam. Doop. Just getting set up. Having some slight technical difficulties, but it's fine. We're figuring it out. We're getting the camera issues solved. Just bear with me, everybody. I appreciate it. Technical genius, I am not. That looks better. Looks like that's working. We'll see if OBS is picking that up. Hopefully it should be. Yeah, okay. Yep. Fixed it, solved it. Excellent. Hopefully that means we are good to go. I am just going to let my hobby Discord know that I am streaming. Just kind of felt like painting on a project I hadn't worked on in forever. So, figured I could stream that, see if anybody else out there was interested in watching me work on this kit bash from last July that I've had sitting around. Figured maybe it would be nice to actually finish painting it before this July. And then was like, wow, I do not have a lot of time left to make that happen. So, I want to work on that today. See if I can just make some progress with it. And then, you know, when am I not in the mood to rewatch frickin' Mount Ozushi anyway? So, painting Wei Wuxian inspired nonsense is just appropriate today. I was browsing eBay, as one does during work, because one is bored. Of course, I was doing this on my break, not actually when I was employed, because I would never be on my phone during work hours. Ever. And there are finally, like, they don't look legitimate, I'll be real with you. They don't look like actual produced by the company that made the show DVDs of Mount Ozushi, but there are finally, like, DVDs that you can purchase of it, which I would have killed for back when I was still trying to find this show online with fan translations. So, it's nice to see that that's coming along. This kit bash is made out of a Bloodborne miniature, a Warhammer miniature, and all of the extra bits of, like, lances and stuff that I had for my Soulblight Gravelords. It's supposed to be like a proxy for the corpse cart, because I just hate that model. It's so ugly. So I made a better one. Hi, Josh. Hi, Josh. How are you doing? I am finally getting the link to paste into the Discord to let everybody know that I am streaming, because I'm very coordinated today. But thank you for stopping in. It's always so nice to have you. You working on any hobby projects right now? You got anything going on? We'll see if Discord wants to load so that I can tag everybody. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Hey, Hey, look at that. It did. Okay. Let me let everybody know what I'm up to. At everyone. And then I will just paste the link. There we go. Alrighty. Hi, Ano. Yeah. Yeah, it's an early stream. You got pizza? What am I working on? I'm working on a kit bash that I made last July. It is a proxy for a corpse cart for Soulblight Gravelords that I made inspired by a character from a Chinese show that I really like. So the character can, like, raise the dead and control them by playing a flute. Which sounds kind of like whatever, but it looks really badass in concept. And I quite love it, so that is the model that I decided to go with, and it's I think it's called like a Warsong Revenant or something. It's a Sylvaneth model, and then the bottom part is a model from the Bloodborne board game, and then it's got all these like spears and stuff from Soulblight Gravelord kits sticking out of it. But it's pretty gnarly, honestly. Very different from what I usually paint. So I've got a little bit of work to do. This is not gonna be one of my like candy paint job kind of things. This is definitely more on the I guess the serious side. If I ever approach serious, this is about as close as we get. But yeah, inspired by like one of my all-time favorite shows and all-time favorite characters, so just gonna paint that up and hopefully, you know, not break it. I've had this sitting around since last July. I think it's about time I actually finish painting them up. So we'll see. I'll probably just hopefully finish the base coats. I mean, I don't really know how far I'll get, but or if I'll get bored and then want to work on something else, as one does. I tried very hard to make this look decent, but oh man, I started this months and months and months ago, so I've learned a few things since then, and I think if I were starting this project new now, I would do some stuff differently, but I'm not, so we're gonna work with what we have, and my attempt to kind of model some kind of closure on this robe thing. Oh man, good fucking job, Vibes. I must have not liked the... Oh yeah, I think he had like tree legs, the original model, which I just couldn't do for this character, so tried to change those. I think nowadays I would have actually tried to model like a proper robe for him that would be closer to the character in the shows, but I wasn't so confident with green stuff back then. Probably shouldn't be that confident with green stuff now. I don't have a lot of experience, but I do like trying new things now, and I was a little bit hesitant to do that before. I didn't have as much experience painting humans either, so I was probably a little hesitant to try that hard. But it's kind of nice to come back to. I've painted quite a few other vampires, so I have kind of an idea of what I want to do. There's definitely a lot of mistakes on this model that I feel like I should correct some of them and let others stand, which could be partly me being lazy, but also partly I should have painted this months and months ago, so I don't know how much I'm going to try and correct. We'll see. Good old tree legs. Yeah, I mean, they're great for Sylvaneth. They're not so good for anime hero characters who are just, you know, from pseudo-ancient China, raising the dead with their flutes. You use what you got. You use what you got. You really do only get confident by doing things, which is some bullshit. I feel like I should just inherit confidence, over time. If, like, the amount of time I put worrying into something could be counted towards that, that would be great. It would just be stellar. Unfortunately, that doesn't appear to be the way that the world works. This model had enough detail before I started kit bashing it, too. Like, either of these would have been a pretty decent painting project on their own. Not to mention, this thing is going to be impossible to ever use in practice because I'm never going to want to transport it. But he will look really cool on my display shelf, so there's that. There was another model that I was considering purchasing so that I could make, basically his counterpart and love interest in the show. And then have both of those models just, like, hang out on my display shelf. But that would mean I'd have to, like, have an entire Cloud Recesses Lumineth army, basically. And I don't like elves that much, so I nixed that idea. But someone out there should paint Lan Wangji Lumineth, and that would be great. That would just be excellent to see. If there's anyone out there who both loves Warhammer and Modao Zushi, that cross-section of people, which is not a very large Venn diagram, but there's gotta be one other individual out there who would be like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. Somebody else knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, I totally just messed up his face. Oh, great. Excellent. He's got like little elf ears that I need to paint. Of course, are sticking up through the hair, which is so freaking tiny. Tree leg sounds like an Ent stripper name. Oh, geez. Well, that's certainly a sentence that I just read. I'm sure Tolkien would be eager to include that aspect of Ent culture in Lord of the Rings. That sounds like something he would definitely have put in his stories. That's the extended Lord of the Rings that they're not showing you. And we have a right to demand that. It's nice to see you at, you know, a reasonable time, Anno. Usually I have to yell at you to go to bed, but now you're just probably, like, it's midday. I don't know what time it is for you, but it's not 2 a.m. I know for a fact it's not 2 a.m. I at least want to finish the base coat so that way I can throw a wash on everything, and if I have to, I can call it done from there, you know? I can at least put that in my display cabinet as something slightly respectable. All of this is just getting painted to look like metal because that's exactly what I would have done back in July. I don't even know. Did I put a second leg in? I think I didn't. I think I tried and then I just gave up because it was really hard to kit bash in there. Oh, wait, is that a leg? Is that a leg behind the cloak thingy? I can't tell. I'm just gonna paint it all like cloak. This is the problem with setting a project aside, literally for months. I was a different person when I kit bashed this. If only the me that had put this together knows what the me that is painting it now knows. 7:30. Cool. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's a perfectly reasonable time to be awake and doing hobby projects. Oh look, there's some green stuff that I didn't even paint over. Delightful. Delightful. Am I gonna paint over it now and be responsible? That's what I should do. Listen, I'm not very good with numbers or time zones, so be nice to me. Be nice to me. Alright, this is not a stream where we just talk about theoretical strippers in the fucking Tolkien world. I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we got here, but that's not where we're gonna stay. How do I keep missing spots on that cloak? I feel like that's impossible, and yet I keep doing it. Also, there's dried up paint caked in the top of that I need to figure out how to get out, so... Solving problems. We can do that. We can do that. The amount of cat hair that had found its way onto this model also was alarming, frankly. I mean, I have accepted that as just a part of my workflow, really. There's always going to be cat hair on things. That's just comes with the territory of owning 3 cats. Pollen spreading in public should be frowned upon because I'm allergic to pollen, so that would just be inappropriate on more than one level. I don't even remember really how I paint exactly for my Soulflake Gravelords, so yeah, we're trying to remember that as we go along. We're failing, but we're trying. Like, I know I want to get some green undertone lighting in here, because in the show, when Wei Wuxian raises the dead, there's like an eerie kind of green glow that happens. I'm just not sure if I should do that before or after putting on the wash. Probably. I don't know. I don't feel like it can be wrong either way that I do it, because I can always just paint over it if it looks stupid. I want to have... Do I want to have a plan? I want to have a concept, I guess. Find it so funny, too, that I'm using the one Reborn as the base miniature, because I fucking hated fighting this thing in Bloodborne. He killed me so many times. I have fought this motherfucker over 80 times in my first Bloodborne playthrough. Like, it was a struggle. I hate fighting this thing. Or at least I hated. I'm good at it now because I've done it so many goddamn times. I could boot up Bloodborne and just go kill this mofo. But when I was first fighting him, it was legitimately a part of the game that I did not think I was going to be able to get past because I just could not get him down. Frustrating as all fucking hell. Even talking about it, though, it makes me want to start another Bloodborne playthrough just so I can have that back and forth with this guy again. I don't know what it is about beating difficult bosses in Soulsborne games that is just so fucking addicting, but it's a good feeling. I remember I used to, like, think about how to defeat the bosses while trying to fall asleep at night. And then I would wake up first thing in the morning, and before I would have breakfast, I'd try out whatever idea I had and see if it worked. That was how I played Bloodborne. That was what I did in college instead of fucking, like, being a decent student. So many regrets. So many things I could have done a bit better if I had been less preoccupied. Let's put it like that. I should not have bought a PlayStation to college. That was a mistake. Friends who are much smarter than me who did not bring gaming consoles with them. I think that could be a contributing factor. But yeah, I mean, I've put this off for almost a full year now, so there's really no excuse for not getting it painted. I have to, and there's still so many Soulblight so many. There's like 5 Soulblight Gravelords minis maybe that I have to finish. They're all like the character models, and I should get them done at some point, but we'll see if I actually get around to it. I don't really intend to play the army, so I don't know why I feel the need to finish it when literally the Tau army that I want to complete and play and the Blood Bowl team that I want to complete and play are sitting on the desk not 3 seconds from me. I need to finish painting my fucking Relic Blade team. Need to do all of that. And instead, I have chosen to revisit old projects. But I guess when the mood strikes, it's a good time to paint. So, you know, carpe diem and all that shit. What else have I been getting up to? I finished watching Arcane. So I did that. Couple months behind that trend, I would say. And then I've been continuing to play through Borderlands 3. I haven't gotten back into Elden Ring. I kind of took a break from that to play Borderlands, and I'm starting to miss it, so I gotta get back into Elden Ring. Probably will play more Borderlands today instead of Elden Ring. I'm just waiting for my friends to be like, hey, you want to play Borderlands? And I'll probably go play Borderlands. That's what's on the docket for today. I already did my adult responsibilities in that I went to the farmer's market this morning and bought food. Not a lot of food. Just some food. But I always feel really accomplished when I, like, take the bus somewhere. I just have a goal and then I accomplish it. Like, the most basic task, but I'm like, yeah, I stuck to the plan that I made for myself. That's a gold star. But I think that's mostly just what adulting is just being like, today I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this thing, and then you just go there and you do it, and then that's it. Maybe tomorrow I'll go to the movies. I've been saying I need to go to the theater more, and I haven't been in like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, maybe a week. I try and go fairly often, because I went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it gave me a lot of emotions. I kind of want to go see The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, I think is what it is. Which is just like a film that Nicolas Cage made, I think. It looks pretty funny. I did see The Northman as well, which I didn't really like all that much. So I should probably, you know, switch it up. Change genre from... Oh, but Men is coming out soon. That's supposed to be good. That's another A24 one. And a horror one. Which is kind of a return to form for them, I guess. They're pretty horror-centric most of the time. And it looks unsettling. I don't know if I'd say it looks good. It definitely looks like it's gonna fuck me up a little bit. But you know, at least it's not Ari Aster, who definitely fucked me up with Hereditary majorly. That's a film I don't know when I can watch again. Like, I'd love to be able to analyze it, but I'm like, wow, you made a film about a lot of stuff that I feel strongly about. How dare you? You mowed the lawn? That's awesome. I moved into a house recently, and I don't know if I'm just surrounded by a cult of people who love to mow their lawns or what, but, like, I had one of our neighbors from, like, 2 houses down stopped me, like, it didn't stop me. He knocked on the door at one point when I was home and working, and was like, hey, do you want me to mow your lawn? Like, I won't charge you anything for it. I'll just do it. And I was like, what? That's very kind of you. And he's like, yeah, no problem. Your yard's so small, it's not anything. And so he did when I was out getting my tattoo, which was very kind of him. But then, yesterday, I, like, I'm walking, I don't even know where I was. I think I just went down to the corner store to get, like, a tea. And they're out of Arizona tea, and they have been for several days. And I will just continue to go there, hoping that they get it back in stock soon, because I have an addiction, and everywhere is out, which makes me sad. Anyway, that's not the point of the story. I come back. My other neighbor from a different house is mowing his lawn, and unprompted is also mowing my front lawn, because our yards are, like, connected. So I go up to him, and I'm like, yo, man, what are you doing? You don't have to do that. And he's like, your yard is so small anyway, it doesn't make a difference. I'll just do it for you. And I'm like, do you want me to pay you? Like, I can get, here, I have money. And he's like, no, don't worry about it. So I don't know what the fuck is happening, but, like, what? Why is everybody constantly mowing not only their lawn, but now my lawn too? Like, it's very nice. It's great, because I've never used a lawnmower in my life, and I don't know how to. Like, I'd try if I owned one and someone taught me, but I also don't belong to any kind of, like, homeowners association. So if I just want to let that lawn fall to shit, like, that's on me, and that's fine. But I'm surrounded by neighbors who want to mow my lawn for me. And I honestly, like, it's so kind, but I don't know how to respond to it at all. It's very confusing for me. So, if you are also surrounded or in a cult of people who are mowing your lawn for you, or if you're mowing your lawn for your neighbors, please let me know what the appropriate, like, baked good tribute or sacrifice or bonfire invite ratio is, so that I can not accidentally offend the potential lawnmower cult that I've moved in next to. That would be great. I would appreciate that advice. That's not one you can just kind of put into WikiHow and get a decent answer for. It does potentially mean I'll never have to learn how to mow my own lawn, and I don't know if, again, if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just kind of a thing that is happening right now. There's so much, like, random rib cages and shit, but I don't think there's actually anything else with armor on it. Just that one guy. I don't know what this is. I'm gonna pick that metal. That's just flesh being ripped off. That's like pants, but that's just gonna be blood soaked. I'm not gonna spend that much time on it. It is kind of alarming to see one of the things that's absolutely kicked the shit out of you a million times in Bloodborne up so close. Like, if anyone had pants on there, cookies on their doorstep, like a small plate of cookies. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I got my groceries delivered like a few weeks ago, and there was just a cheesecake mix in there that, like, I didn't order and they did not charge me for. Just like a chocolate Jello cheesecake mix thing. And I'm thinking I might just make that and leave it there. Like, ring their door and be like, hello, you mowed my lawn. Here is a cheesecake that I did not pay for from the store. Enjoy. Like, I don't know if that's... It's too much for one human to try and figure out, and I'm definitely overthinking it, so I'm gonna try to not worry about it so much. Or, you know, I could get back into making copious amounts of bread in my free time, which I quite like to do. Can just bring over loaves of, like, rosemary bread. I bought some chives at the farmer's market because I think I'm gonna make a shepherd's pie and, like, put mashed potatoes on the top with chives mixed into them because that just tastes good. You know, normal stuff. Normal stuff. I think I'm probably gonna soak this in a wash. That seems to be what I'm gonna do next. Maybe I'll pick out this little tattoo. It's close enough to the sun brand that Wei Wuxian gets on his chest, in the show. It's not in the right position, but you know what? It's close enough. All of this is just a lesson in being close enough to what I am going for. Yeah, I'm gonna give those base coats just a few seconds to dry. And while that's happening, Achilles, my new cat, likes to bite everything and destroy it, and he got a hold of this ghoul. And previously, I'd only found one arm that he had bitten off, but today I found the other arm, which is great because it means he did not eat them, which I had been very worried about. But we're gonna glue him back together today. Plastic glue? I think we can still use plastic glue. I want you to know this, what I thought I had closed my roll top desk all the way to prevent stuff like Achilles getting and eating my miniatures from happening, but it had gotten caught on the lip of my paint palette and had not closed all the way. So he stuck his grubby little paws under there and was able to catch and pull out a mini. So that's how that happened. Do I have a clog in my... No, okay. I guess Achilles just really... Fuck. Okay. This one? This... No, that can't be right. Okay. I dropped it. Afternoon. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Tigers. I did decide to stream at a different time, just to shake things up a bit. Give people who maybe are not, you know, available during my regular streaming hours, as though I stream, you know, regularly. Available during the time I usually stream. I do not actually know how this arm goes on. I have another ghoul. Hang on. Let's get a reference ghoul over here. There we go. Okay. Alright, so apparently there's an elbow part that I don't have for that arm. I have this arm. He's undead, so, you know, if it looks a bit jank, that's just Achilles' helping me to make a unique model. Thanks, buddy. Okay, those need to, like, get welded with plastic glue together. You know, if all else fails, I can just snap an extra skeleton arm off this guy. He's sure to have one. I don't see the elbow bit yet, but as we've established, my carpet is the worst and doesn't show a damn thing. So, who knows if that will resurface or not. I am looking. I'm not seeing the elbow, which would be very small and hard to spot to begin with. So, we'll see. But if all else fails, I mean, I can just kind of glue this arm like that. Say, you know, like, that's still acceptable. It's undead, so if he's missing a bone, that's just kind of par for the course. But we'll set that there. We'll give it another day or so before we call it quits on him. I think all the paint is dry on this kit bash, so I'm gonna do it. We're gonna use... Typically, I would use Seraphim Sepia. I am running a bit low, and I should have picked more up when I was at the game store literally 5 minutes ago. But of course I didn't, because I'm mean. I have 2 bottles of Nuln Oil, because that's essential. But I do have a ton of Reikland Flesh Shade that we could use. I just don't know. I can't guarantee the results, so... We'll do it. We'll be bold. I feel like I should have extra Seraphim Sepia lying around because it's my favorite thing to paint with. But just bury me with like a cask full of that and we'll be good. Now, if I had actually painted this in July, I would have had plenty of Seraphim Sepia to use. Finish your minis so that you don't have to use the wash that you don't like quite as much as the other wash that you own. Or just always have your favorite wash on hand. That's probably the better advice that I could give. I think it'll still look good. And it's not like I'm gonna not highlight or not splash a fuck ton of blood for the blood god all over everything. I want to have better brushes to... Flat brush is not... This is not a good brush to apply wash with. What am I doing? Why did no one call me out on that? Y'all watching me make mistakes. Do I own a decent brush for applying wash? Probably not. Because I'm constantly ruining them. Oh, here we go. This will be a good one. This is fun. Reichland has increasingly become your go-to because you're working with a lot of reds and browns lately. That makes sense. That makes sense. It's a really good one. Like, it does a lot. It's very popular. It's got a lot going for it. Can't fault it, really. It's a fine choice. It's just slightly, like, redder, I think, than my ideal fucking wash of Seraphim Sepia, which is still okay. There's a lot of blood and bodies and stuff on this, so I don't think going with a redder wash is the wrong choice, necessarily. It's potentially just the one I'm slightly less comfortable making, because I haven't worked with the way that this... with Seraphim Sepia, I can have a good picture in my head of how the, like, color tone will turn out when I paint it on, because all GW washes, they do tint, or at least how I apply them. I'm expecting them to tint and kind of unify the color scheme a bit, and I know that, like, Seraphim Sepia over bone works really good to make it look aged. Over clothing is really good to make it look aged. Stuff like that. I just know how it's going to affect things. And with a wash that I haven't worked with as much, I don't necessarily know what the effect and what the overall tone is going to look like when I have finished applying it. But that's something I'm going to find out. And we'll see how that goes. Hi Riley, welcome to the stream. Thank you for your advice about Army Painter Strong Tone. I see the giant cans of it. Like, it looks just like a paint can that you would buy at a hardware store. They have it at my local game store. And they just show some guy, like, dipping a skeleton into it on the packaging. And honestly, I kind of want to get it just so I can have a, I don't remember the villain's name from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but just, like, I'll just put a label on there called The Dip, because I feel like that would be funny for me and other fans of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. His name is, like, Judge Doom or something, right? Like, I'm not crazy there. One of you guys has to know what his name is. I keep getting him and Judge Dredd mixed up. The one that's, like, you know, like a weird anti-hero or whatever. Judge Doom, thank you. Yeah. So, I think there's one that's, like, some kind of comic book character, who has a similar name, but is not Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So yeah. Yeah, okay. See, I don't like what this is doing to the bone color as much as I would prefer what Seraphim Sepia would do, because it's turning it all very, very brown. They said as they continued to paint over things anyway. It might look different when it dries, and I can always do another dry brush if I don't like how this turns out. And honestly, I should probably just wash it with some red to make it look more bloody, because that's the goal. But I think I was going for more of like a sun-bleached kind of bone look. But it's fine. Whatever we get, we can work with, and we can make it look good still. The one reborn is a swampy, slimy, gross boy. So there's plenty of room for me to slop more crap on him until he looks about the way I remember him looking in Bloodborne. It's not going to be the best paint job in the world, probably. Do I owe it to be better than this because I've taken months to get it done? No, I don't owe anything to my miniatures. And my friend Jeremy would be like, that's dumb. Hobbies are not obligations. Just paint because you enjoy painting. So, I'm going to make this look like it came out of a gross sewer because that's what the fucking whole of... What's it called? Not Yarnum. It's Yargul. That's what it is in Bloodborne. Looks all creepy and gross, and I hate it. Sometimes thinning a darker red down can make a good makeshift blood wash. That's true. I mean, I could add some water to my Blood for the Blood God and kind of see what happens with that, which would be fun. But I don't know if that's quite what I want to do. I think I have like Blood Angels red contrast paint or something that I could try. So maybe I'll go with that. Judge Dredd is a comic book. Okay, you're clarifying which one is which. I appreciate that, because I don't always know these things. Yeah, I heard that it had quite a lot of inspiration for 40K in those comics, and then they also made a miniature. I saw that on Midwinter Mini's channel, but I can never remember which one is Judge Dredd and which one is Judge Doom, so, you know, it's fine. People would be able to know what I'm meaning to say even if I say the wrong thing, I think. Or maybe they just need to put Judge Doom in 40K. I mean, regardless of whether I do a wash of Blood for the Blood God or not, there's definitely going to be some spots that need it, because this is just, it's crying out for it. It needs some horribly disgusting blood effects, like, it's just so gross. This is about as gross as I get. I won't do Nurgle, but I'll do whatever this is. Toon 40K would be amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Okay, I don't know why my background music video has paused. I did not ask for that. Ugh. There we go. It's a 3-hour video of music. Like, yeah, I wanted that on for the entire 3 hours, please, YouTube. Thank you. I don't think I will be streaming for 3 hours, but we'll see. You never know. You never know. Oh, I don't think I asked you, Riley. Are you working on any hobby projects at the moment? What have you got on your painting table? Trying to make sure I coated all of this in a wash. I think I've got most if not all of it at this point, so it's good. Stick some up in there. I did not make this kit bash easy to paint. What would have been easy to paint? Sub-assemblies. Do I ever do sub-assemblies? No. Why do I not do sub-assemblies? Because I am not confident that I will ever be able to put stuff back together in the right order. If a helmet you see, Judge Dredd, heapy. If Christopher Lloyd is bug-eyed, that's Judge Doom you spot. You know, that's just like that fucking rhyme about snakes and whether they're safe or not. That's a good one. Waiting for some green stuff to dry on some conversions. Cool. Spare animal heads on spare Space Marines. Okay, bro, like, you gotta show us this shit, for real. I have a Discord where we all hang out and we show each other our hobby projects, and I talk about dumb, Star Wars names and whatever TV shows I'm watching and all that kind of bullshit. But we do have a dedicated channel to just hobby stuff, and I would love to see, first of all, I love anybody who's been kit bashing stuff, because I don't kit bash as much as I should, and I constantly am looking for inspiration to kind of build that confidence. But people share their kit bashes all the time, and it's really cool. So I'd love to see what you're working on. I'm going to post a link to the Discord. And if you have Discord, I'd love if you showed me what you were working on. I do also have Instagram, though, so if you don't have Discord and you do have Instagram, I'd still love to see, stuff. Ah, fuck! No! Oh, that just happened. Oh, dear. Welp. I guess now my, Reichland Fleshshade supply is much closer to my Seraphim Sepia supply. Gosh darn it. Ain't that just the way? You're trying to do a promo and you end up spilling goddamn shade paint. There's a rug. And honestly, I wouldn't give a shit about this carpet. It's terrible. Yeah, that's big yikes for me. Alright, well, we had a full-ish bottle, and now we have that much left. I guess while I'm still shilling, support me on Patreon so I can buy more shade paints. Because apparently, I have just lost one. I'm gonna grab more paper towels to clean that up. I'll be right back. It's not the end of the world. Worse things have happened than spilling a little bit of shade paint. I don't think I've ever actually finished an entire bottle of shade paint without spilling it, so honestly, par for the course. Hi, Annie. Good to see you. Yeah, I may have just spilled most of a bottle of Reichland Fleshshade, but, worse things have happened. I still have 2 bottles of gnome oil and the dregs of a bottle of Seraphim Sepia. So, all is not lost. All is not lost. Working on... This has to dry now, so I can set that aside and paint something else. I really gotta decide what kind of candy I'm gonna paint my Relic Blade miniatures up to be like, because I issued a challenge to Brent of Goobertown Hobbies, who some of you may be familiar with. We're both going to Gen Con, and he convinced me to buy Relic Blade at Adepticon, so I challenged him to a game. But I need to paint up my minis for it, and I don't know what kind of candy to paint them up like. They're these, like, kind of fish-looking people. So we got, like, a shark guy and some fish guys. Let me see if I can get that to focus a bit better. Yeah, so little Murloc-looking guy. He's got, like, a spear and stuff. And then he's got a buddy who's basically the same, but in a different pose. I really like them because they got big old bug eyes and their little mouths are open. And then we got this. This is my least favorite of the bunch. He's like a eel guy with a lantern. I don't like him as much as the Murlocs. And then my favorite guy is this really weird hammerhead shark guy with daggers. But I don't know what candy I want to paint these guys up to be inspired by. Or I didn't say that sentence very good. But I hope you got what I meant. Relic sounds old. How about old-timey candy shop wrappers? That would be kind of interesting, but I feel like that would be a little bit difficult to communicate with their general sculpt. Because stuff like these little guys, they're probably not going to take patterns all too well. And a lot of old-time candy wrappers had like some stripes on them and stuff. So I'm not sure if that's going to be the route I go. I'm thinking that maybe I could do... Because I did an experiment a while ago with some synthetic sugar trying to make, like, Sour Patch Kid looking things where they have, like, a dusting of candy on them. And then I also did, like, frosted animal cookie things. So I feel like that could be a look for these guys. But I'm just not sure. There's something about it that's not clicking. And I thought maybe donuts today, but I don't think I want to do donuts on them either. So, if you find any good ideas or just pictures of candy that you like, definitely shoot them my way so I can try and come up with a good Relic Blade concept. Because, I mean, they gotta look different from Brent's. I would say they gotta look better, but I'm not going to be that confident about where we're at with my abilities. What else can I do while waiting for that to dry? I could work on my Blood Bowl team more. I still need to redo the checkers on this guy's base after repainting it white, so we'll put another layer of white on there while I think about what I want to do. It's a fast food themed Blood Bowl team, that much I do know. If you guys haven't checked out Annie Green Gables' channel, by the way, please go do that, because all of the content on there is super cool. I've really been enjoying this Role Diversity series that she's been doing, where she interviews a bunch of different, like, creators in the hobby. I was on there. I was on episode 1, and I've watched episodes 2 and 3. I quite enjoyed episode 2. It seems like you and Fresh Prince of Bealtan just had the best discussions. I just wanted to, like, hang out with you two, so if you ever want to invite both of us back for another episode or something, that seemed like a really fun hangout, and I would love to be a part of it. Okay, thanks, bye. Which team do I have? These are my third Blood Bowl team. I have Necromantic Horrors. Nope, these are my fourth Blood Bowl team. I have Necromantic Horrors, I have Lizard Men, I have Black Orcs, and then the one I'm painting right now is an Undead team. So this is, I'll show you. This is the guy. This is the one that I've finished. He's like the example miniature. Focus, camera. Focus on the guy. So he's a skeleton made out of French fries, obviously. And then his shoulder guard is like a burger. And he's got a little number 1 since he's the first one I painted. But yeah, he's fast food themed. He's got little red boots. He's made out of fries. The wings on his helmet are made out of ketchup. And yeah, so he's got a burger shoulder pad. I love this concept for a team so much. It's kind of dumb, but it's also like, yeah, obviously that skeleton is made out of French fries, so what you gonna do? And then, like, here's another skeleton made out of French fries. And I really like that he has this random triangle that connects his shoulder pads. I think it's supposed to be like fabric, but I obviously made it a dripping slice of cheese because that's what it is now. That's just canon. And he doesn't have all his wash and highlights yet. This guy does. So you can see that his, like, little armor panels have like the rivets dotted to be like sesame seeds on the bun. And his doesn't have all that yet, but he's gonna get there. He's gonna get there. And then, where's Crunchwrap Supreme? That's what I've named one of the mummies. He's around here somewhere. I should organize my hobby desk. I know, I can hear someone saying that in their head, and it's very kind of you to have kept that quiet. Trust me, I beat myself up for not having done that. There should be another mummy around. Yeah, here he is. Found him. Alright, so this one is Crunchwrap Supreme, and I'm trying to communicate with these little different colored dots that he's like made out of a bunch of onion rings. And also has burger shoulder pads and the like. I don't know if that concept quite translates the way that I'm hoping it to, but I know that he's made out of onion rings. You know now that he is made out of onion rings. And between the both of us, that's enough for me. Yeah, hamburger themed for sure. And then like for their bases, I want to do like checkered tiles on the floors. Like a fast food restaurant, and I had tried to do that before. You'd think with the amount of checkers I've painted on things before, that would have been easy as hell. But I completely fucked it up, so that's why I'm repainting that one. It would be really easy if I had, like, a checkerboard, stencil, and I could just spray or dab some red paint on it, but I don't have that, so gotta do things the old-fashioned way. These are the zombies for that team, and I'm trying to make them look like melting sundaes. I don't really think it's being pulled off, but, you know. Dry brush of, like, a brown yellow over the rings to make them more onion ring-like. But your answer to every problem. Yeah, he hasn't gotten his wash or anything yet. I have just kind of been fiddling around with them in probably the least efficient way possible to paint a team. Which is why they're kind of half base coated and then not. Yeah, it's a process. That's all I can say is that it's a process. I'm having fun, however, which is the most important part of my hobby projects to me. Is that I entertain myself while doing them. I did originally give them yellow shoes. I thought that would be a good, like, Ronald McDonald kind of look for them, but it just looks terrible and I hate it, so I'm changing them to white with red. But yeah, definitely going with the fast food theme on this team. I've been wanting to do a fast food themed, painting project ever since I did one a really long time ago when I was first getting into painting for my local game store. I painted up a Remmerhaus, I think is how you say it, for D&D, which is just like basically a giant worm. And I painted him up to look like a giant French fry. And that was, I think that was one of the first painting contests that I ever won. And I was really self-conscious about it because I was like, this is kind of a dumb idea, but I hope that, you know, that it works out. And it did in the end. People really liked it. So that's when I got a little bit more confident in knowing that, yeah, my ideas, they're a little off-kilter, sure, but they find their audience in the end. People like them. Being fast food themed or just a food themed paint job in general doesn't invalidate them from being well painted and well liked by the people who look at them. Are you working on anything, Annie? I didn't ask you that. I was just very excited to see you join the stream. What is on your hobby desk? I think you just made a video about transportation systems for miniatures. which I should probably take a look at, because currently my solution to transporting my miniatures is to throw them all in a cardboard box and hope for the best, which historically has worked out for me, but I feel like I could be doing better. I should probably be, like, magnetizing them or getting a foam case or something like that for them. Gonna paint his little belt too. And then I guess I can show you guys how I make the shoulder pads look like a cheeseburger. That's kind of fun. I have another video that I've almost finished getting all the shots for. I don't know when I'm gonna get around to editing it, because life's been a little bit of a lot lately, but we're getting there. But I did finish a Borderlands-inspired diorama that I'm excited to show you guys. You're also a follower of the Big Shoebox School of Transportation? Absolutely. Yep. It's a time-honored tradition of people who either were too broke or too apathetic to care what condition their miniatures arrived in. It was more important that they arrived, full stop. I don't know if this is gonna work. Like, I keep painting new layers of white over here, but I can still see the old stuff poking through. So, I don't know what to do about that yet. Ooh, buses mean you need a handle to carry something by. Yeah, that'd definitely, having a handle on a bus is pretty good. Alright, so for painting burger shoulder pads, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna paint the burger line around the guy. Because you gotta establish that it's a burger. That's the official reason why. If you don't have a patty on it, it is not a burger. Therefore, you have failed the task of painting a burger shoulder pad. None of these lines have to be even because food is imperfect, so there we go. Step 2 is being patient and waiting for things to dry. It is also the hardest step in this goddamn process because I have no patience some days. Oh, you know the other color that I keep telling myself I need to buy more of when I'm at the store is Moon Dust by Army Painter, and I did not buy more of Moon Dust by Army Painter when I was at the hobby shop this morning. So I will continue trying to squeeze what is arguably no paint out of this bottle. There we go. It's a great French fry color, so I need it, clearly. That should probably be red. Probably get these little nails to look like French fries. I'm gonna have to go back and paint the brown part because I didn't do good on painting these parts, but that's okay. That I didn't paint at all, so we gotta go back and paint that. Lots of mistakes being made today, but that's okay. Must just be more focused in the evenings, which is typically when I paint. Get too excited by the possibilities of stuff during the day. I just want to see how cool this army looks when it's finished. Alright, step 2 of painting things to look like a burger is once your burger line on your shoulder pad is dry, to add cheese to it. Cheese is really easy. It's even easier than painting the burger because you're just painting a little triangle. Doop. Little gob of cheese. I also like trying to paint the cheese in the little parts that are like all divoted and there's like little bumps in them on this armor because it's like really beaten up and weathered, because I think it'll make it look like Swiss cheese, and it doesn't. It doesn't do that at all, but I think it's fun. Then I just take some red, which is gonna be, I guess, tomatoes. Some people would say it's ketchup, but I would think it's a tomato. And just a few spots get that. Couple red lines so that you have some tomato. And the last thing is just to paint little wavy lines for lettuce, and then that makes it look like a burger, and you're done. It is the process that I go through. I must not be using this color. Am I using... See, that was... Yeah, I think I'm using goblin flesh as a lettuce color. I don't think goblin flesh would make a good burger, but it makes a decent shade for lettuce. I really do enjoy the Scale 75 paint that I picked up, just in terms of how intense all of the colors are. It makes me want to buy more of their paint, but sometimes the bottles are a struggle. There. Now it looks like he's got burger shoulder pads, which is the whole goal. I still have a few things to correct on him. Definitely like the Scale 75 silver you got. Very thin and opaque. Cool. I tend to want my my metal paints pretty thick. I prefer them to be a one thick coat solution as opposed to a thin one. When like metals are super watery, I just find them a chore to work with. Far from my favorite. just adding in some, like, red details for a bit of variation. I think this is supposed to be, like, a brick of wood or something that's drilled through his arm. I don't really know if that's the case. Because, like, part of that's definitely bone, but then it looks like there's something else tacked on. No, I think that's supposed to be bone. I correct that. I'm gonna just try and paint over that. That's not gonna go well. I should wait till that red's dry, but fuck it. It's fine. It's fine. The wash will fix all of my sins, I'm sure. I'm actually intentionally using Reikland Flesh Shade on these guys because I feel like having a little bit of red-brown just makes them look more fast food-like. I don't know if that makes sense, but it works. Oh, you just mean the layers are thin. Okay. It's viscous, it just doesn't hide details. That makes sense. That makes sense. Alright. So, you guys are done being detailed over here. So that's 5 players over here that have their paint job, with the detailed parts put in. I should work on the skeleton since I have some of that color on my palette. How many goddamn people are on this team? More than 5. There's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14? I think it's 14. 14 players that I got in the box. But yeah, I definitely got to get to finishing these up because one of my friends who got into miniature painting totally kicked my ass last month in how many miniatures he had painted. He painted like, I don't know, like 20 of them, and I painted, I think I finished painting 2 last month. So I gotta kick it up a little bit. Newbies come in here with tons of energy, and I'm like, that's awesome. I should embody that same spirit. So hopefully I finish these guys soon. I'd like to take them to Gen Con for some games of Blood Bowl. Classes, sign-up classes for Gen Con are tomorrow at noon. EST noon. So I have to make sure I'm there at the right time. But there are several classes that I want to take, and I'm hoping I'm able to sign up for the one that I want to take the most. And then as many of the other ones as I can. I didn't take any classes when I went to Adepticon, and that's one of those things that I kind of wish I had done. So I'm pretty excited to get another chance to be able to do that. And then, of course, if I learn anything cool, I can pass it all on to use. Can make videos about it. It's like, oh man, if fives can figure out how to do this, we probably can too. Because I would not necessarily call myself one of the smartest painters out there. Nor the most gifted. If I can figure out a technique, I promise you, it is an easy enough technique to be able to learn yourself. What application will that have with creating new food-themed miniatures? That I do not know. Because one of the classes I am hoping to get into teaches you how to put LED lights in your miniatures, which sounds rad as hell and difficult as hell. But I figure if I can learn how to do it, then anybody can. Because I have no electrical experience whatsoever. I kind of suck at assembling miniatures. So whoever the instructor is, I apologize ahead of time for me in general, but I'd like to learn how to do it, which is why you take a class, to learn stuff. And I can certainly bring enthusiasm, if nothing else. Like, I don't know how that will apply to my general painting style, if that will be of any use to know, but I just want to know how to do it because it seems really cool. Have any of you guys tried that? Putting LED lights into your miniatures? Because if you could give me like a ballpark of how difficult that actually is, that sounds great. I've watched 1 or 2 videos about incorporating lights with like dioramas and stuff, but I don't think it's quite the same. And they definitely seem like people who know what they're doing, or they've had backgrounds in building stuff in like actual like houses and things like that, or you know, they've been doing this for tons and tons of years. So it would be really interesting, I think, to just see someone like me with a little bit less experience in the hobby give that a go. I have looked at not a lot of information, but some information online about it as well. You've not done it in minis, but you have some experience with soldering and LEDs in secondary school, and it was pretty easy. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. I don't know what age secondary school is. Sorry, I am very much from America, so I don't know what like primary, secondary, like what grades those are. It's definitely confusing. But at least it's not like a college level course that you took on this. So that means if they were trusting kids to do it, then it can't be that bad. It can't be that bad. Irish high school, basically. Okay. Fair. I take it you're from Ireland, then, which is fantastic. I have a few friends in Ireland. Always happy to meet another Irish hobbyist. I weirdly keep finding people in Ireland who enjoy miniature painting, so that's quite cool. I was gonna say the second half of your name seems very Irish, but then like I don't know the difference between what is actually like an Irish name or what could be Scottish or anything like that because I have not studied languages. They're trusting teenagers from here with hot metal and electricity should be grand. Yup, absolutely. It'll be grand. Tricky part would just be getting everything inside a miniature. Yeah, that's kind of what I figure. Like, how cool would it be if I was able to get Ghost Keel's, like, orb, his face, this part, to light up? Or that backpack thing? Like, that's hollow inside. That's gotta have enough room for something. But then I'm also worried, like, what if the plastic overheats and melts? So, who knows? But you know what? Who knows the people who are theoretically going to teach me this class if I get in. So if you're going to Gen Con, don't sign up for that one because I want to take it. Or do sign up and meet me there. And if you take my spot, then just teach me all of the secrets. And I will give you the class fee and it'll be fine. Don't not take the class just because I want to take it. If you're going to Gen Con, take whatever classes you want. Every knowledge should happen. They're first come, first serve, so I'm hoping to get a spot. But again, we will just see what happens. I don't know if LEDs could get that hot or not. I don't know shit about electricity. This was an established fact. This is known. This is fucking known. I made that very, very clear. I don't know. I'm gonna give that wash on the other miniature that I was working on probably a solid 24 hours to dry because I never can tell when a wash is actually dry and then I'll just fucking start doing stuff and be like, oh, the wash hasn't dried yet, that's not good. I'm gonna be patient this time. Totally shocked if they got that hot. They're not like incandescent bulbs. You did once see someone turn a motor into a pile of goo before. That sounds like a story. A very interesting story. You gotta tell that one at some point. Man, that's gotta be interesting. I feel like motors are not easily turned to goo, but again, don't really know that much. What are they letting you get up to in secondary school? If you're turning motors to goo. Jesus. If I turn a miniature to goo, it's usually because, like, I was trying to assemble it and the glue started to melt two pieces together. Nothing's ever become a pile before, though. Nothing's ever just completely liquefied. Maybe some details got a bit gummy, but it was still a miniature at the end of the day. Secondary school is a nightmare, but basically someone made it run too fast for too long and then the plastic casing melted. Oh dear. Yeah, from what I understand, about Ireland, which, to be fair, is not a lot, but, like, Catholic schools are basically the standard from what I know. Like, it's not as common for someone to have just gone to, like, a generic, non-denominational, like, as far as religion goes, public school. Whereas I definitely went to public school and not any kind of private school. Which means y'all had to deal with uniforms and shit like that, which just seems like a nightmare. In addition to, like, stuff being taught by nuns or priests, which I always find is just kind of weird as a concept in my brain. Never really been able to wrap my head around that. Like, nothing to me says, you know who I think is really qualified to teach central themes of, like, English literature or math? I've never been like, I should turn to the church and see if there's a nun or priest who would like to teach me these things. But then again, I'm not the best when it comes to religion, so it could definitely make more sense growing up and going to a school where that was the standard. But that's always just felt a little odd to me, personally. What I've gathered in America, the fewer Catholic schools means the Catholicism is stronger. Like, you only had one nun teacher? Okay, fair. I have a couple of friends who went to Catholic school for, like, I guess it would be what Irish primary school would be, because they went to public high school. I'm still very, very good friends. One of my best friends in the world went to Catholic school growing up, and she's just the best. I met this friend in a biology class in high school, solely because the teacher was like, somebody's gotta move to the front. There's too many of you sitting in the back. And I just didn't want that conversation to drag on for 200 years, so I moved to the front and ended up sitting next to one of the people I would become absolute best friends with. So that was a good choice. It's weird how you can meet people like that by chance. Like, you really don't mean to, and then the next thing you know, this one small decision just ends up with you having, like, a ride or die friend for life. It's weird how that happens, but it's very cool. Yeah, uniforms seem like they'd be the worst. I'm not gonna lie. I'm work from home now for my job, and I never want to have a job where I actually have to wear something that isn't pajama pants to work. I don't think I can go back. I can't do it. I've gotten too comfortable. I refuse to abandon it. It's my apocalypse outfit now, and I'm not changing it. I thought it would be, like, cooler. I thought it would be more like a My Chemical Romance album art. But no, it turns out, during the end times, all I want to do is just wear sweatpants and sweatshirts. Which, you know, shouldn't have been a surprise. That's what I've always wanted to do, but now I am able to do that. It's so funny, too, because my folks were always like, you can't wear comfy clothes to school all the time. It's not professional. Well, guess what? I am a professional now. I have a job, and I can wear sweatpants wherever I want. It's good stuff. I'm sorry you had to suffer the horrors of Irish secondary school and presumably Irish primary school, but glad you survived. You said you paint Space Marines. What other armies do you have? I would love to ask you more about your Space Marines, but I do not know jack shit about Space Marines. That's just the truth. I could not. Imperial Fists are the yellow ones. I know that much. But, like, I don't really know what the deal is with each chapter and shit like that. And then people will tell me, like, the name of the chapter that they paint, and I'll be like, oh, that sounds cool. I didn't even know that World Eaters were a thing. World Eaters, I think, are a Space Marine chapter. I want to say that they are. I could be very wrong. Mad Max, but everyone's in onesies. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the Doof Warrior in Fury Road was kind of wearing like a red onesie, so there's precedent for it. It could happen. He also did have a flame-throwing electric guitar, which I don't currently possess. However, you only have a couple Space Marines, but you have a few other things like Mantix Space Rats? Dude, Space Rats sound rad as hell. Like Skaven in space? Yes. That sounds cool. Mantic Games, I'm assuming. I haven't really looked into their whole, company much, but maybe I should if they're making Space Rats. That sounds awesome. A few other historical things. Okay, cool. One of the folks in the Discord, my moderator, Jeremy, he paints some historicals. He's painted Napoleonics before. From what I understand, a lot of historicals are well, I guess not all of them, but some historicals can be real tiny, which I always like. I think that it's cool. As much as these miniatures are tiny, when there's even tinier miniatures, they're just smaller and cuter, and I love that. Their stuff is pretty good. You'll put them on the Discord? Awesome. Thank you. 15mm is wacky. You kind of want to give it a go. Yeah, it seems interesting. I don't know how small, like, I could stand to paint. I do love, like, when people talk about, like, Warhammer Epic or whatever, and they have all the tiny things. I love seeing, like, the orc, like, Morkanauts and Gorkanauts and stuff like that, but really, really tiny. They're so cute. I love them. Yeah, Epic models look adorable. I'd love to get some. I don't know what, in any practicality, I would use them for, but they're just tiny. Sometimes tiny things you just own because they're small. Is tiny, is good. Like the little kitten sleeping on my couch is small, is tiny, is good. Achilles is fucking passed out, which is so cute. He only seems to have like 3 modes, which is eat, sleep, and then fight. It's hilarious they stopped making Epic because some folks were just playing 40k rules with them because it was so much cheaper. Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess with like 3D printers and stuff, you could just print, you could print epics pretty easily and just have your whole band of guys ready to go. That would be a good, like, if I got into epics, that would tempt me into, I don't think I would actually purchase a 3D printer, because I'm just not the sort of person who would ever clean up after it in the way that it needs to be cleaned and maintained. Like, I just don't have that in me. Yet. Maybe someday. But, having some epic scale things and being able to just print whatever, that'd be pretty fun. I would kind of like some, like, as much as I don't like Space Marines much at all, that new Dreadnought from the Horus Heresy box, which I think pretty much everybody is not a fan of him, I kind of love him. He's just so dorky. He's got the little head hiding in. It's great. Kind of want one of those. I probably will never buy it because it's gonna be, Exactly, yeah, like, I have 3 cats. I cannot have a 3D printer because they will destroy it. You think Achilles isn't gonna bite a resin bottle and then drink that shit down? Like, he absolutely will. He is a dumbass, and I love him, but he's stupid. They're all stupid, and they would all kill themselves, and I can't have that happen. So that is a major reason why I don't have a 3D printer. Okay, he's got that painted on him. I think you're the only one left who needs French fry colors, which is good, because that paint is still there and still active. Resin 3D printing seems expensive, slightly dangerous, and kind of a pain in general. I mean, I definitely think it's the right choice for some folks, but I'm not one of them. I love 3D printed miniatures as like a thing. Like, I've purchased some from other people who 3D print. I just don't think I have the right dedication to that, because 3D printing is really a hobby in and of itself. But I'm very glad there are people out there who do 3D print, and I can just buy products from them. That's pretty convenient for me. It's cool, but it is not easy. Exactly. One of the lovely folks in my Discord is going to be helping me get some 3D printed Tau bases for all of the Tau army that I should be painting right now. But once I have the bases, I can fix all the broken ones, get them all attached to their bases. It'll be all good. I'll get the army all re-primed up together, and then I can really start tackling things. Because, I have so many Tau. Did people really used to make their own lead minis? Holy shit. That seems dangerous. Like, 3D printing, yeah, but molten lead? That's a different level. I know, like, companies were making metal minis out of lead, sure. But, like, just the average person and the like 3D printers of the day were making their own shit out of lead. People still do that? What the shit? That is fascinating. I wouldn't have thought that that was a thing that people did. That's kind of cool. Some people have switched over to non-lead metals. I think that's probably smart. I think for the most part, no one should be working with lead if they can avoid it for, like, toys and stuff. I think that's a general consensus. Oh yeah, I guess people do make their own, like, resin cast things. Lead is like vinyl records, as in some people swear by its superior quality in terms of detail. That's fair. I do have a record player, actually, that I got as a gift. along with the Bloodborne soundtrack on vinyl. And I do have to say, as much as, like, I don't have the best hearing in the world, I would say. Details easily slip past me when I'm listening to stuff, even with headphones. But I definitely do hear some things on vinyl that I have not heard with digital recordings. And whether that's just my ears being dumb or some sort of weird placebo or what, there is a difference to me. I just don't know if that is widely a difference or if that is just something that my brain is making up. I only own a few records, though. I own the Bloodborne soundtrack. I own the Hadestown Broadway cast recording. I got the Cuphead soundtrack. I got a Hozier album. And I did just order the new Florence and the Machine album on vinyl as well, because I do quite like Florence and the Machine. So it's not a lot of albums, but it is some albums that I have. I've painted a few metal miniatures. I don't know if any of them were lead. Like, the Relic Blade ones that I have are metal, but I don't think that they're lead. And then painted, I think, War Machine I've painted one or two from. I painted a metal GW miniature. I don't think I've painted anything else that's metal. I think it's just those 3 or 4 or whatever I said. And like the Relic Blade ones I haven't even actually painted. I just have them. Yeah, I would assume that most people don't use lead anymore. Kind of funny to me, though, that there's someone out there who's just casting a bunch of fucking lead minis. That's crazy. I'd really like to try sculpting my own miniature out of green stuff one day. Seeing if I can make casts of it. I don't think it would be any good. I am far from a decent sculptor, but I keep seeing other people do it, and I like some of the things that they make. And it seems like one of those things that the more you do it, the more you improve at it, so maybe I ought to give it a go. I don't know what I'd make, though. I have so many weird ideas that it would be pretty hard to narrow it down and just pick one. This guy's almost done with the French fry bit. I don't know why I just decided to start doing that, then not finish all of the details. I'm not painting these in an even vaguely efficient way. But they are getting painted, so that counts for something. We put paint on miniatures today, so can't go wrong with that. I think I've decided that even if I do find the elbow, I kind of like the idea of his arm just weirdly hanging on, like that. So I'm making an executive decision to just forget the other half of his arm and glue this on. Maybe that's partially because I'm too lazy to look for it, and partially just because I think it would look cool. But, that's what we're gonna do now. A little dab of plastic glue. And then I'm gonna hold this here for 24 minutes while I wait for it to dry. Tried some sculpting, but mainly just green stuff cloth. Making your own parts sounds like it would be awesome. Yeah, I've definitely done a little bit of, like, green stuff work here and there. Like, on this mini that I did, this Chaos Spawn, I wanted to give him a party hat, so I sculpted a little party hat. I've sculpted whipped cream on some of my miniatures before. I've sculpted just like a couple other random little things that didn't turn out very good. I think I did like fur on the hoods of 1 or 2 minis, but I've never been like, I'm going to sculpt an entire miniature to paint. My friend has made me a miniature that they sculpted out of green stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with the game Little Nightmares, but there are these creatures in it called gnomes, and they're just like, they're really tiny little guys, and I quite like them. And for my birthday, my friend sculpted me one out of green stuff, and then I got to paint it, which was really fun. So maybe for his birthday, I should sculpt something for him. But I already have a couple of miniatures set aside. So, maybe Christmas. I don't know. We'll see what happens. See what happens. Alright, I think that's gonna work for reattaching those limbs. He looks still pretty shambly and pretty undead, so that's what we're going for. Mission accomplished. I don't know where the cap for this went. That's mildly concerning. It's, oh, here it is. There we go. Boop. I think I'll just try and paint a little bit more yellow on this guy. Make him look more, because I wanted to do like mustard and ketchup with the ghouls. I'll probably name them after popular brands of mustard and ketchup. Because I just think it's more fun to give your Blood Bowl players funny little names. That's what makes me happy anyway. I've been playing in a local league, and that's just been a blast. I think I'm currently in like 3rd place, but there's only 5 of us, so it's not like I'm doing phenomenal or anything, but doing okay. I'm up against, for the final match, I have to play a Nurgle team, and they're pretty tough, and they're also Nurgle, so they're pretty gross. Gross boys. This is not a safe space for Nurgle miniatures. Trying to think, like, if I could sculpt a miniature, what would I actually take the time and feel dedicated enough to complete a sculpture of? So much of the time I'm like, somebody else should make a miniature so that I can purchase and paint it. Like, I'm like, there should be more Zoats. Which is true, there should be more Zoats. But would I actually take the time to sculpt a Zoat? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good first... That feels pretty difficult for a first sculpting project. I have a ton of green stuff right here. I could try sculpting. I don't think that's what we're gonna do today. I don't think I'm gonna transition into sculpting miniature when I have a lot of miniatures on my desk, as you can see, that need to be painted. Yeah, Nurgle minis are super grody. I don't like them. They gross. They scary. You will not catch me painting Nurgle on this channel anytime soon. So many other people will teach you how to paint Death Guard. I am not one of them. I'm so sorry, but they are spooky and I don't like them. This yellow is really thin, which is gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's not fine yet, but we'll get there. He's gonna have a wash over him anyway soon, so just add more yellow until he looks good. That's how you paint yellow. You just keep slopping it on there. That's what all the pro painters definitely say to do with yellow, is to just continue to thickly coat your miniature with it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Got a little knee sticking out there. I'd say you'd get a skin knee going like that, but I don't know if ghouls worry about that kind of thing. He doesn't seem all too concerned about whether he gets injured or not, which is a shame. He should value his own undead life. Yellow happens to be my favorite color, so I don't really have too much of an option to avoid it, because I just like putting it on things. I have quite a bit of fun with it as an element of a color scheme. Actually painting it, I don't know. I don't paint in a good way, technically speaking. I tend to just paint to get paint on stuff. You know, like, I have no qualms with just slapping a coat of something on. Probably doesn't always lead to the best results. Yeah. But I do get results. I can achieve the color yellow. Just maybe not in the most technically best way of getting it there. avoiding it is definitely not the way to get better at it. I've learned that with painting. Avoiding stuff doesn't necessarily make it better. Just taking a look at the miniature I was working on earlier, and there are still pockets of wash that haven't dried, which makes sense. But it does kind of look nice with the Reikland Flesh Shade. It made it look like everything had kind of been dragged through the mud. And gotten a bit of mud on it, so I think that could honestly work pretty well. I might just go in, because I wanted to give it like a green glow, and I want to see if just dabbing some Hexwraith Flame in like the skeleton's eyes and stuff, if that's gonna give me a decent effect or not. So let's try applying some just to the end of the flute where the death magic would be coming out of. And if I just stick some in the skeleton's mouth, I wonder how that will look. Probably need to add the glow in like a couple more skeleton faces and between ribs and stuff. But as a test, just to get that going, I'd like to see how that turns out as well. There are lots of different undercoating tricks that I've heard work well for yellow, so whether that's brown, whether it's orange, whether it's pink, there's certainly a lot of different theories out there for how you can get that to work well. So lots of people have discovered good ways to paint yellow. Those people just aren't necessarily me, and me doesn't necessarily learn from the mistakes of others, even when others freely publish that information to be learned from. How many layers of thick-ass white paint am I going to put on this base when I could literally just take it downstairs and throw a spray of white primer on it that would do the same thing and fix all of the mistakes? But I am instead gonna slap another coat of white on here and hope for the best. Oh man. Sometimes you just do what you can to stay at your hobby desk that little bit longer. Oh man. And like the other major project that I have to finish up is Ghostkeel. Ghostkeel's definitely coming along. I don't like how shiny that green has turned out on those bits, so I need to fix that. And change a few other things. Finished doing all the glowy bits, but I got sidetracked and I haven't finished panel lining or anything like that because there's so many damn panels to line. But I'm excited for how this one is going to look. I think we're almost at the point, too, where we got to put a little bit of whipped cream on him so that people know he's a key lime pie Tau. And I'm very excited to have another Tau finished up to go with my initial test model. I think that is where I'm going to end the stream for now. I need to go have some lunch and do a couple of other things. But I hope you guys had fun. It was really nice meeting a couple new folks because, you know, sometimes streaming in other time zones, it actually works out. You get to talk with other people all over the world. So, hope to see some of you on the Discord later. And I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. And if you did paint anything, please feel free to send me a photo of it. I'd love to see it. I always like seeing what people are up to on the streams. But until next time, that'll be it for now.